Livestock farmers know the value of manure in an integrated farming system. Applying manure nutrients to their fields enhances crop production. The organic matter, rich in its biological content, plus the essential nutrients combine to give soil life and enhance crop yields. However, without careful management, a lot of the value in manure can be lost or wasted. Now more than ever, we need to find ways to enhance and capture more value from the manure and reduce any environmental concerns. The way in which farmers manage manure has a lot to do with their existing farm setup. Proposing any changes in manure management can be complicated for many farmers. Often changes are very capital intensive, carry an element of risk, and require careful planning to execute any of the proposed changes. So we'll hope you'll watch all 3 videos in this Manure Innovation series. We will be interviewing application professionals on manure management, as well as showcasing new and innovative technologies to increase your efficiencies and reduce the risk of any greenhouse gas emissions.